the weather forecast with Coloca and its multipurpose banquet hall, Il Palazzo.
Hi ladies and gentlemen, and hope you are having a beautiful evening out there, and welcome once more to the weather forecast. Between tonight and tomorrow morning, the weather will be calm in most parts of the country, with the lowest temperatures expected around the northern and western regions, with as low as 14 degrees in the northwest, west and the far north regions, and as low as 16 degrees in the north region. We'll have as low as 17 degrees in the littoral, 20 degrees in the south, and the southwest region is expecting temperatures as low as 21 degrees. We take you to the east, where this evening there is no chance of precipitation, and by morning will be the same situation with predominantly 21 degrees. Next, we go over to the center region, where this evening there is no chance of precipitation in the entire region, and by morning will be the same experience with Yaoundé and Fou having the least temperature at 21 degrees. And in the Adamawa region tonight, we have no chance of rainfall, and same experience by morning with Tiknier having the least temperature at 16 degrees. I encourage you to make out time and go see what the Jim Mountain looks like. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.
Public Works Minister Emmanuel Nganu-Jumisi threatens to suspend contracts with a Chinese company for its snail pace and poor quality of works in Bafoussam. Cameroon has acquired a new cancer diagnosis system machine worth 18 million francs to reduce deaths from the killer disease. And a 4-man task force is installed to help map out victory strategies for the Intermediate Lions at this year's African Nations Championships in Cameroon. The details right now. Thanks for watching the 7:30 news on CRTV. I am Moki Edwin Kinzaka in Yaoundé. And we begin with this press release from the Prime Minister's office signed by the Director of Cabinet. It reads, on the extant instructions of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, the Prime Minister, Head of Government, Chief Dr. Joseph John Gute, will pay working visits to the littoral and southwest regions from the 5th to the 7th of February 2020. During his stay, he will visit the Chan 2020 and AFCON 2021 construction sites. The press release is from the Prime Minister's office. A warning has been issued to the China Railway Construction Company for the snail pace and poor quality of rehabilitation works on the Bafoussam Urban Road Crossing project. Public Works Minister Emmanuel Nganu-Jumisi issued a warning during a work site evaluation meeting today and promised to cancel the project if the speed of work is not increased. Details with Joyce Kimifowajo.
From one spot to the other, the Minister of Public Works went through the 10.5-kilometer-long Bafoussam Urban Road crossing under reconstruction. With stops on each of the 4 axes, the minister posed questions and gave his observations. At the evaluation meeting that followed, the control mission revealed that only 30% work has been done at against 68% deadline consumed. The Chinese enterprise tried to justify its delays, but the governor of the West region vented his anger by blaming the construction company for lack of organization, lack of qualified personnel, and lack of a working timetable. Officials of Eneo and Camtel further pushed forth their blame. The superintendent expresses his dissatisfaction with the company.
We are working in a big city. The traffic is cohabiting with the work. Consequently, we should move faster. In case we do not move faster, it means that we make the population to suffer. When you decide to construct a route, it's that the route should contribute to ameliorate the situation, the social condition of the population, not to create more difficulties.
He further announced a warning that may lead to the cancellation of the contract.
We have agreed on a new planning. We are agreed on what to do from now onward as far as the construction of the road itself is concerned. So the company should bring in more experts, more equipment, and should be organized better.
The company has been given 24 hours to restore water into the town of Bafoussam following the destruction of pipes by the construction company, the watering of road regularly to spare the population from dust, and to draw a work timetable that will include days, night, and even public holidays.
The process for the election of members of parliament and councillors, which began with the convening of the electors, will reach its apex on February 9, when the elections proper will be conducted. The electoral process has gone through several stages so far. Ebenezer Kanga reports on the stages remaining before the elections day.
Since the convening of electors by the head of state for the legislative and municipal elections, the electoral process has gone through several stages. The process is moving to its apex with the elections proper on February 9. But before elections day, there are still some stages to go through in the electoral process. One of them is the organization of training sessions by ELECAM for chairpersons of local polling commissions in the management of polling stations, filling of return sheets, among others. Also, ELECAM will organize a training session for national and international observers accredited to monitor the polls. At the same time, the distribution of voter cards is continuing. Registered voters who have not yet collected their cards are requested to go to ELECAM council branches and collect them. However, the Electoral Code provides that voter cards which have not been collected shall be deposited in their polling stations on voting day. This means that someone who has not collected his voter card can go to his polling station on February 9, where he will collect it and vote.
Flyers, banners, T-shirts, caps, and umbrellas are some of the gadgets used by political parties during this period of campaigns. But printing houses and serigraphers have complaints of slow business. Ranatu Sali visited some printing houses and brought back this report.
This serigrapher is finishing up the last set of the 350 commands of T-shirts for the campaigns of the February 9 polls. It is actually the only command he has received since the beginning of campaigns. Business has been slow.
It is really difficult this period. We don't have commands like we expected or compared to past campaigns.
In this printing house, all dispositions have been taken to meet the demands of political parties, from T-shirts to flyers, banners and caps. But just one political party came soliciting their services.
It's not the business boom that we can kind of expect for this period. We will lower our price. It can go from 20% to 30% to even 50% on some commands, depending on the commands, to encourage other parties.
On the other side of town, business has been booming for this graphic designer.
We have designed 500 T-shirts and caps for Honorable Kavaige Jibril and 1,000 T-shirts for the party of Kabwa Libi. Each T-shirt costs 1,500 francs, so business has been really good so far.
But his case is just one in an ocean of serigraphers who still hope to catch up with business before the campaigns end in a couple of days.
Some young Cameroonians are undergoing a 3-day capacity-building workshop on human rights monitoring and reporting here in Yaoundé. The project aims at improving the conditions for exercising freedom in Cameroon. It is specifically planned to give participants didactic and practical tools necessary for a good monitoring and reporting during the electoral process and techniques on field work during the elections. This training, that is also aimed at assuring transparency during the February 9 twin election, will run from February 4 to February 6, 2020. Bilingualism is gradually becoming more of a necessity in the professional milieu in the country as workers affirm its importance. They are of the opinion that being bilingual facilitates communication and work widens the scope of partnership and strengthens customer service. As Cameroon commemorates its week of bilingualism, Joy Starter visited some structures in the city of Yaoundé to find out how useful bilingualism is.
Being bilingual nowadays in some enterprises makes one indispensable, just like Denise.
It is an advantage to be a bilingual because at times we have foreigners who come in here, some express themselves in English and they don't speak French, and they always need someone to serve like an intermediary.
Gone are the days where bilingualism could be expressed only in a written form. Today, some fields require one to be bilingual practically.
It's a customer service, so when we receive a call, it can be a French-speaking Cameroonian or English-speaking Cameroonian. So the person who's online is supposed to answer that call normally. So those who are bilingual, they have a better chance of being recruited here.
Not being able to express oneself in either of Cameroon's national languages, in the case of Madame Odilia, gives room for unnecessary movements at work.
Due to my inability to translate, I have to go to translation units so that a document can be translated well for me.
However, in order to promote bilingualism in the professional milieu, various measures are being exercised on a daily basis.
We are giving them some training session to improve the bilingualism.
If I say something wrong in English, I will absolutely have a colleague who will say, "No, bro, that's not a good way to say it. You need to say that."
As Cameroon prepares to celebrate Bilingualism Day come Friday, February 7, the idea is to foster the practice of both national languages by every citizen of the nation for a smooth functioning of the professional sector in Cameroon.
This year's National Day in Cameroon will be celebrated under the theme Youth, Peace, Decentralization and Participation in Local Governance for a New Cameroon. The theme, inspired by the socio-political situation in the country, invites the youths who constitute a majority of the population to play a more active role for a united and strong country. Beatrice Losamba puts into context the theme of the 54th Youth Day.
The nation Cameroon has been grappling with a 3-year-old socio-political crisis in the northwest and southwest regions, which has jeopardized its peace. After the major national dialogue last year, concrete actions have been taken to accelerate the decentralization process, as well as militate for the inclusion of all and sundry in building a resilient economy. The government, by choosing the Youth Day theme, Youth, Peace, Decentralization and Participation in Local Governance for a New Cameroon, wants to engage youth, the most important capital of its economy, by virtue of the fact that it is equipped and agile in these trends.
The head of state said that he understood youth who want to participate in the governance, want to have some responsibility.
As youth, we are supposed to be massively involved because we are those that we call on to manage things in our nation in some years to come. So we need to contribute so that we learn how those things happen, so that when the implementation time comes, we should have no difficulties.
A theme as such might be suggesting the tremendous potential of the youth is underrepresented and should be given an enabling environment.
Most often, when we talk about youth, at times there are people in their 50s, in their 40s. Where are those who are in their 20s, 30s, even early 30s?
Governance, policy making, youth as champions of peace.
I think peace should be the spearhead of this theme because without peace we cannot do anything.
Raising a voice for youth inclusion in this transition the nation is facing seems to be timely and shows there are more promising pathways for youth empowerment.
Some 40 newly trained mobile phone technicians have been provided with equipment to help start their activities in the digital sector. This was during an end-of-course ceremony organized by the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications in Yaoundé, where participants were handed attestations after a 1-month training to upgrade their operational capacities. Minister Minette Libom Lilikeng said the training was to help formalize the activities of many in the informal sector. Cynthia Sapala was there.
These are the 40 youths that have benefited from a training course in mobile phone repairs. Coming from the 10 regions, some were part of those numerous youths along the streets of Avenue Kennedy in Yaoundé operating in the informal sector. Organized by the Ministry of Post and Telecommunication, this pilot initiative targeted those with a passion for ICT in order to upgrade their capacities while promoting digital entrepreneurship.
our ministerial department is there to try to do the best to help those young people who want to be involved in digital sector to be trained to have adequate skills. You have identified those who are involved in mobile repairing.
During the end of course ceremony, the beneficiaries of the 4-week training course was also equipped with appropriate working materials to enable them start their own economic activities.
At the end of this training, I'm able to flash a phone, to remove forgotten password, to change damaged circuit on the phone, that is like, for example, charging circuit or a mic, and to diagnose a fault.
According to the minister, the success of the project has encouraged the state to continue with the training of more interested youths.
Cameroon expertise has been highly instrumental in ensuring continuity at the container terminal in Douala after a new management team took over. The accession by the operator of the facility follows the installation and use of a new computer software by Cameroonian IT engineers just days after the former broke down. They add that the feat was made possible thanks to the creative genius of local expertise. Clarice Aritakan reports.
A container yard to run, yes, but without the appropriate manpower to carry out the bulk of the job, the performance bargain was going to be tedious to pull off. The obligation to deliver and the resolve to succeed against all odds won the day.
The staff is in good spirits. Initially, we did not think that we will make it. Not because we don't have the ability to do so, but rather because we're worried about the state of the terminal. Here, we are working first for the nation. The operator is doing all to make things succeed.
Port authorities testify that the genius of the personnel was put to the test when it was most needed. Even though having to deal with a number of irregularities, the system was kept functional thanks to local talent.
We had to buy a program for the billing system, but we were not able to have it as fast as it could be requested by the necessity of the job. So we took young engineers that wrote programs for the billing. So we'll be able to bill with Cameroonian program written by our engineers. So we could, as you can see, we could deliver the goods and receive them.
The container terminal at the Douala seaport is hundreds of Cameroonians putting their know-how to use in the different services at the heart of the structure. Management believes they have all it takes to meet the challenge.
You're watching the 7:30 news on CRTV. Thank you. Cameroon today joined the rest of the world in observing the 20th edition of International Cancer Day under the theme, I Am and I Will. On the occasion, a new cancer diagnostic system machine worth 18 million francs was handed to the Research and Treatment Health Facility Center, or Centre Pasteur, in the nation's capital. Details with Alice Mbe.
A machine that detects cancer was presented to health specialists from all over Cameroon at the Centre Pasteur laboratory in Yaoundé. The new benchmark GS cancer machine detects sub-cancer with 20 slides that permits the analysis of multiple specimens.
This new machine is going to help us to well define what type of cancer we are going to treat. Because when you say lymphoma, for a specialist is not a diagnosis. We want to know this is non-Hodgkin type of lymphoma. This is Burkitt lymphoma. That machine will help us to have that precision.
Health experts continue to say cancer is responsible for over 10,000 deaths in Cameroon for the last 5 years because of late diagnosis.
Instead of having a manual analysis which is subjected to variations, we will have something which is almost automated, also that will decrease significantly the time. Instead of 2 to 3 weeks to get a result, we will get it in a few days.
The representative of the Minister of Public Health, Dr. Ngorsak Francois, appreciated the new medical equipment, which is the first of its kind in Cameroon.
Health experts are currently meeting at the Chantal Biya International Research Center to deliberate on how to strengthen the network to develop algorithm for early diagnosis of hepatitis B virus infection in children born of seropositive hepatitis B mothers. The hepatitis B virus that is contagious can be prevented through a vaccine. Staff Lady Enangakebi has the rest of that story.
Coming from Chad, Gabon and Cameroon, the 35 participants, all of them public health experts, converged at the conference hall of the Chantal Biya International Reference Center. They are concerned with the early diagnosis of the hepatitis B virus infection in children born of infected mothers of hepatitis B. The development of chronic infection is very common in infants infected from their mothers before the age of 5 years.
Cameroon has successfully implemented a similar program for HIV, and hepatitis B, being a viral infection, can be easily talked about so that many more Cameroonians should understand.
Interestingly, the components for an effective intervention to prevent the mother-to-child transmission of the hepatitis B virus are today available in most countries.
There is the vaccine against hepatitis B infection that should be given within 24 hours of age. There is also an antiviral medication that should be given to a pregnant woman who is hepatitis B positive within 4 weeks. There is the immunoglobulin that is given to the baby within the first day of life.
Here, the participants will therefore examine the diagnostic tests and algorithms, including the vaccine and the antiretrovirals available, and try to adapt them to suit local context. As they share knowledge, they will also proceed on how to promote hepatitis B virus screening amongst pregnant women in their respective countries.
This year, the Ministry of Agriculture plans to consolidate food safety and increase exports of agricultural produce. Agriculture Minister Gabriel Bairobe made the reminder as staff of Central and External Services of his ministry exchanged best wishes for 2020 over 2020 with him. Beatrice Losamba reports.
The objectives of the Ministry of Agriculture had long ago shifted from promoting subsistence agriculture to taking farming in the country to an industrial level. Second-generation agriculture, as prescribed by the head of state, has been in the pipeline since 2011 after the National Agri Show, and the has gradually worked towards making it a reality, is now deepening efforts this year. The Minister of Agriculture says revamping the rice, cashew nut, and cocoa sectors is one of the objectives this year, and the ministry keeps in mind that it is heading to a place where food security is ensured for the country and its neighbors, where Cameroonians export enough food to grow their personal income and bring about economic growth, and where many jobs can be created thanks to improved activities in the sector this year. While agriculture is projected to be the engine that will take Cameroon to emergence by 2035, this last decade will see many more determined moves made in growing mechanized farming. Minister Gabriel Bairobe says, wishing his staff more commitment at work to achieve these goals.
The rates of road accidents in the country may soon be reduced to the barest minimum in the months ahead. This is thanks to a new reform put in place by the Ministry of Transport to secure the process for the insurance of the roadworthiness certificates. Gladys Atembanche Chuma Banda reports that a new software program has been put in place by a private firm, ProfTAC, in the nation's economic capital.
Cameroon records an average of more than 16,000 road accidents each year, killing more than 1,000 people, according to official figures. Government statistics in 2019 showed that 20% of road traffic accidents in Cameroon are due to mechanical default, given that most vehicles that ply the cities and highways are over 15 years of age, with little or no maintenance. It is to reduce the rate of road accidents to the barest minimum that the Ministry of Transport has launched a reform to secure the process for the issuance of the roadworthiness certificate.
It was noticed that the vehicles don't go to roadworthiness centers, but they have the roadworthiness certificate. There was complaisance, there was corruption, and the result was that we have vehicles plying our highways that are not roadworthy. So the Ministry of Transport launched an international call for tender, and that resulted to the selection of ProfTAC Katis, a structure that's in charge of putting in place a new secure protocol that's going to interconnect all roadworthiness centers to a central command and the Ministry of Transport.
Just how effective is this reform?
Today we have a system that's going to make sure that every vehicle goes to a roadworthiness center. The control is automatically done without any human intervention to fraud that can fraud the process. And the roadworthiness certificate is issued automatically in the roadworthiness center. And there is a mobile application that our law enforcement officials are going to have that are going to automatically, just by flashing the registration certificate of a vehicle, it gives you the image and all the information about that vehicle when the vehicle was at the roadworthiness center. And this system is also very important because it calculates automatically all the different taxes that you're supposed to pay to the state in such a way that the state is going to get its dues, avoiding all system of fraud.
The reform, which goes into effect on February 1, 2020, if well implemented, should help curb the rate of road accidents in the country, especially those related to the poor state of vehicles.
Sports, a 4-man technical supervisory team has today been installed at the helm of the Intermediate Lions of Cameroon. The team, headed by the General Technical Supervisor Gewa Ekwamfis, was installed by Sports Minister Professor Narcisse Molikombi. The College of Consultants, as the minister termed them, have been tasked with accompanying the team technically to ensure a successful participation at this year's African Nations Championship. Jeffrey Abani has the rest of that story.
The use of consultative staff is not a novelty in football, especially when stakes are high. Cameroon's 1984 and 2000 AFCON winning teams, as well as Belgium's 2018 World Cup squad, are some amongst many that have made use of this, with the key task to monitor opponents and make proposals towards the improvement in quality and performance of the team. These 4 football technicians installed today are poised to help the Intermediate Lions to a successful African Nations Championship on home soil.
We have to help the coaching staff for doing many things that they cannot do. We have to think before. We have to look how are the opponents, what are they doing, what are they preparing for the cup. We have to see and watch the games, the trainings, and we have to give those informations to the staff, to the technical staff.
If there are many who believe the appointment of Gewa Ekwamfis and co. is a strategy to limit the decisional powers of Yves Clément Aroga and his backroom staff, the Intermediate Lions Gaffer thinks otherwise.
I don't know what they are saying, so everything is very good. Everybody knows where it is placed, so we are going to work together to build a good team.
Work starts immediately for Coach Aroga and his College of Consultants, also including Martin Tungumpile, Abubakar Sulemanu and Agbo Hans, with the African Nations Championship exactly 2 months away.
That ends the news. But before we leave you, the Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Gadu Jumese, has threatened to suspend contracts with a Chinese company for its snail pace and poor quality of works in Bafoussam. The minister gave them 21 days to abide, without which the contract was suspended. Cameroon has acquired a new cancer diagnostic system machine worth 18 million francs to reduce deaths from the killer disease. The machine was handed as the nation joined the rest of the world to celebrate World Cancer Day. And a 4-man task force is installed to help map out victory strategies for the Intermediate Lions at this year's African Nations Championship in Cameroon. That ends the 7:30 news on CRTV. I am Moki Edwin Kinzika in Yaoundé. Thank you for watching.